oh, video games, it made a kid a murderer. But that's the beauty of the ending because it's saying it was just a game. It's
Yeah.
just a game. No, it did not.
Hey everybody, how you doing? Lancey boy, long time no see. How you doing, buddy?
Keep waking up.
Another day, eh? I like that. Keep waking up. I like that.
I was thinking Sam Kinnis is like, another day, huh?
I think this fashion statement says, I'm having a good fucking time!
The world is a strange place. Have you noticed?
I mean, I noticed the second I was born.
Oh, look at this motherfucker going fucking Deep Thoughts by Jack Handy. If you get that reference, bravo, comment below. You're as old as I am.
And now, Deep Thoughts by Jack Handy.
Yeah, I just feel like since the pandemic, it's like we haven't gotten our footing yet. It just keeps getting weirder. But sorry, guys and dolls, I got my own shit going on. As you can see, fuck that shit. We're here to talk about movies. And this week on Lance and Arrow at the movies, that's the name of the show, right?
Maybe Arrow and Lance? Who knows?
Whatever.
Just
Who gives a shit?
two gorgeous-looking people talking cinema.
No kidding.
We're actually taking on the 1994 Brainscan, actually directed by John Flynn, who directed two movies that I love, Out for Justice, Steven Seagal, and Lockup with Stallone as well, which I love, you know.
Nothing's dead around here until it's buried, is it?
Brainscan, 1994, John Flynn, starring Edward Furlong, of course, of T2, Pet Sematary 2, the great Frank Langella, aka Skeletor in my world.
Chosen by destiny to receive the powers of Grayskull.
His role, there's not much to it, really, on paper.
No, he was actually if you think about it, too big of an actor for this role. It was kind of weird now that you kind of think back, because it's just a simple, that's just like somebody you pay. Yeah, money. Okay. I was thinking like this is where you get like, I can't think of anybody like, just a character actor. Just that guy shows up, does a good job, kicks some ass.
Well, he's just, look, on paper, that role is flatter than Joan Jett's chest under a bus,
Yeah, what's with that? She has like no tits at all.
Got this.
But that motherfucker, Angela, just brings it to life, man. Just by sheer screen presence, charisma, introverted intensity. That motherfucker just stand there and just look at you and you're feeling that shit. That's my opinion of him. So I thought he really shined, and he really posed a threat to the Furlong character. And I think if you had a lesser actor, it wouldn't have worked. I love this role because I love Langella.
He's the guy that could be like, this is twice I told you that you need to go home. And it's like, oh, I felt that. There's an intensity, I should say. Yeah, dude, he's fantastic for the role.
Now, this is the second time I'm telling you, go home. Go.
The guy that played Trickster. Trickster is kind of like the Freddy Krueger-esque character in the film. Played by, where his fucking name is?
T. Ryder Smith.
Thank you very much. That's why you get paid the big bucks. So, for me personally, it's a movie like, it was shot in my hometown of Montreal, just first and foremost. And actually, the school in the film is John Abbott College, and that's where I went for 3 years in acting school.
Oh, no shit. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Actually, that same school was used in Abandon with Katie Holmes, and I was actually an actor in that movie. But my scene was cut, so you could just see it on deleted scenes on the DVD, but that goes besides the point. When I first saw the film, I was like, 6 on 10. That's where I was going. But watching it again today, I don't know, because society has changed and it's kind of connected more to the thematics of the movie. Isolation, being alone. Like I play VR every day. That kid's on that thing playing VR. So it was a bit ahead of its time. Well, before I hijack the entire talk, I mean, what do you like about Brainscan, if I may ask?
I like all of it. I think this is a great time capsule movie. I've always been a big fan of tech horror. Technology was kind of making leaps and bounds, but it was still pretty small. But for us, we're like, oh, it could do anything, even Ghost in the Machine. So there was this time where like everything I grew up with was like, technology is going to kill you. And I was like, ooh, awesome. I love it. So you put that, and you put fucking John Connor from T2 in this, and my, probably grade school around this time, even younger, I was all for it. It kind of hits all the stuff that I dig, which is like 90s tech, loneliness / like you said, isolation, and good old fashioned murder,
I didn't kill the man. I didn't even know him.
There lies the beauty.
As Furlong, as Michael in the movie's getting shit for having a horror club, it's like, oh, that's my guy, dude.
Yeah.
I wish I could have had that in high school. So it's like, yeah, I'm going to relate to him off the bat.
I will watch it if I can stand it, and if I approve, you will be allowed to show it.
Well, before we actually go on, I'm going to jump on that. What are you drinking?
Oh, just a teeny bit of seltzer water and was it clear rum? Calypso, maybe? It's real cheap, but...
What'd you just say? A tea? Is that what I heard? Am I tripping balls?
Yeah. I don't. Did you take something? Are you tripping? Are you okay?
Not yet. I got my drink over here, but what did you just say? What are you drinking?
I said I am drinking a little bit of white rum and
okay.
seltzer water.
You can stop right there. Now you have my respect. We're good. I'm drinking a hazed and confused IPA. It's
out of a can.
Dude, relax, bro. You got to do this on the show. I don't just show up good to go. It's not. I'm gonna put it.
You could have poured it before you start recording. Just take yourself a second.
Everybody's gonna watch me pour it. Look. Got to slant it a little.
Put like a clock here.
Tick 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 tick. You hear that, editor? Put a clock. Look at this thing. It's beautiful. Bingo. In my trooper glass. So, cheers to you, my friend. Cheers to all of you. To all my friends.
To all my friends!
Like you said, I related to the lead character because when I was 16 or 15 or whatever, loneliness, yep, check. Fangoria issues, yep, check. Wall filled with heavy metal and horror posters, yep, check. My video games were not as advanced as what he's got, but what was it, I think it was Nintendo at that time, or Sega Genesis. I think that's what I had going. So I really related with the character. I don't know if you know this, but the script was written by Andrew Kevin Walker, who of course wrote, Seven, Sleepy Hollow. He did The Killer recently by Fincher, which came out on Netflix, I think.
8
right?
millimeter.
8 millimeter, yeah. So I actually heard from Craig Perry, the producer of Final Destination, because we're friends on Facebook, and I talked about Brainscan, and he wrote in my comments something along the lines of, Andrew Kevin Walker found out that his script got made, because he sold the script, All the Best Love and Kisses. He found out the script got made when the movie came out. Like, nobody ever fucking told him.
This is really disappointing, Kyle.
How normal is that in Hollywood? I assume it's pretty normal, or do you at least get a heads up at some point? I guess it's more surprising that it never came his way.
Maybe it was more normal, like in the 90s, but right now, I don't think that is normal, personally, from what I know. But
okay.
In the 90s, maybe a different ballgame. And obviously, Andrew Kevin Walker was not the guy from Seven at that time, So I thought the film was beautifully paced. I love the idea, the game, and then he goes, like the first murder, with the foot getting cut and shit. I was like, holy shit. I didn't remember this movie being that grisly. It kind of dries out like my ex as we move forward, but the first kill was pretty harsh, I thought. Pretty fucking harsh. Clip pace, like I said before. Trickster, I don't know if you know this, but Andrew Kevin Walker, his script, it wasn't like some VR thing. It was a VHS tape. And Trickster didn't exist, a character. It was the voice on the VHS tape guiding the kid, interacting with the kid. When the producer that acquired the script, I think his name was Michael Roy, he made the changes. So he changed the VHS to, I keep calling it a VR game, but a CD-ROM game, I guess. And added the Trickster element, which of course is very Freddy Krueger-esque. And I'm happy he did, actually, because they really brought the film, just notched it up in terms of entertainment value. I personally cannot see this movie working without Trickster, who basically steals the entire fucking movie, in my opinion.
No, because it adds that supernatural element. Not that it wouldn't have been there with the VHS, which VHS would be the dumbest idea, especially at this time. Sega CD had come out. I mean, that was trying to lead the way in terms of like games that were something like this. So it's like a CD makes sense. And even if it has that sort of, outer world quality, having a monster essentially, because it is, and but it's an uncanny valley monster. And that's what I like about Tricksters, because unlike Freddy or something along those lines, he has a human look, but there's elements that are off. Like he has the long Nosferatu fingernails, these little beady sharp teeth. His mouth and nose are slightly elongated, so that he's off. He's off, but he kind of looks like he would be that sort of metal / punk guy from like the early days of MTV. So it's this character that a kid of his age probably be like, oh, have fun with. So he's almost like inviting, but he's off. So no. You take this character outside the physical embodiment, and then it doesn't work as well, or it doesn't have that sort of flair to it. And I think that's what I like. And Mr. I got to look it up, T. Ryder Smith.
My name is Trickster.
Steals the show as Trickster because he's charming, he's mean, he's witty, he is those kind of things. I think they said in behind the scenes, it's essentially he modeled him after Keith Richards meets Iggy Pop. Though I would say there's definitely some Maurice from Little Monsters in here, but
a little bit. Yeah.
What I actually really like about how Ryder Smith plays the character is you take all these elements, but he definitely dials it down.
I can't wait to see what you do next.
He's never too wacky, and it's like this is the kind of character that if it was wacky, I'd be like, I understand. Fucking big, wacky mohawk, crazy hands, loves Primus. Yeah, he's gonna be wacky, but he's a little more reserved. And let's give credit, they don't overdo it. And obviously, it's the first movie. Maybe if there's 4, they would have, but he's not in it a ton.
Throughout the movie, before the ending, the ending kind of, reveals that what we thought was happening is not necessarily what is happening. So I'm watching the movie, and Trickster obviously is manipulating this kid, saying, I'm here to help you. I got your back. You got to do this. You got to do that. And of course, as an audience member, I'm like, well, he's a fucking kid. So of course he's getting played like really easily, but I'm perceiving Trickster as a villain. But then by the time the ending comes and you find out, no, it was a game all along. Everything that's happened did not happen. So motherfucking Trickster was not a bad guy. Manipulating a kid, making him do shit, that he didn't want to do. And then, no, he was legit trying to help this motherfucker go through the game. So the ending for me changed my entire perspective of Trickster. I'm like, oh, okay, he's a good guy. What about you? Did you know what I'm talking about? You guys and dolls know what I'm talking about? Comments below.
You won't survive on your own. I'm willing to help you.
Like, I actually thoroughly enjoyed the ending. It's one of those endings that I'm glad I saw as a kid, because I usually hate it's not real.
Yeah.
But for this, it's fine. I mean, obviously there's questionable things like, well, there's a point where Trickster, when they're he's having Michael clean up some footprints and calls the cops. That perspective doesn't work. But at the same time, I don't really care. I mean, I actually the whole time was like, Trickster, I think, was never gonna fuck him, because he needs, if this kid finishes his game, he would. My perspective was, if he finishes his game, he's gonna then tell the kids. He has to have him finish it.
I only want what you want.
He doesn't want him to get caught. So I think he's messing with him. He's having fun with him. But the whole time I actually thought Trickster was ever going to harm him because then the game dies. So I, in my mind, he needed to live on, though I guess you could argue, oh, the first part was him telling his friends and that's all he needs, but who knows? He was the game's avatar. That's all he was.
Yeah.
He was kind of neutral. Like, yeah, he put his thumb in the skull a couple times, but he's a trickster, so he's just having fun. So I don't know if I'd say good or bad. Is more just like slimy and conniving, maybe would be the words I'd use. It's not a super deep movie, but they're very clever in how they present things and how it rolls out so that we can have this conversation. Because it's, the movie's all about like, why do you like horror? Why do you like murder? And it's like, well, Furlong even says it was a stupid principle. It's an escape.
Senseless violence is not entertainment.
What is it then?
Which I love the principle because it was like right out of like 1952.
Yeah, big time.
Okay, marijuana cigarettes.
Like lighting up a marijuana cigarette and escaping the real world,
It's like Sublime's Smoke to Joint should be popping on right there,
It's funny, the more I talk about this movie, the deeper it is. And the second part is there's one moment in the film where Trickster says something, and I think it's when they killed, he killed his best friend, Kyle. And then Trickster says some shit along the lines of, you don't really feel bad about it. You're not really feeling guilty about it. Something along the lines, I'm super paraphrasing.
Kyle's death still hurts, but do you really feel guilty for what you've done? Be honest. If you don't feel the guilt, why accept the punishment?
But the movie was kind of exploring, from my POV, that the kid, Furlong, has that thing inside of him where, for him, what's happening, he's in the game, but what's happening in the game, he thinks it's real. That he's able to kill his best friend and not really feel that much guilt about it. So it's kind of like an exploration of what creates a psychopath, if you will. I'm most likely reading way too much into this shit, but that's...
Is that the point of movies?
Yeah, that's kind of like what I got. I also love especially... The first kill is the one I remember the most because it has the most impact because it's the first time you see the character go through the quote-unquote game. But I love the first person.
Yeah.
It'll be, as if you're in a game, really, and Trickster's talking in a voiceover, do this, do that, grab this, kind of like a fucking game. So I thought it was, overall, pretty fucking cool. Anything else in terms of your likes before we move into dislikes?
I mean, it was pretty topical. 93 was the hearings about violence in games and how they cause, or they were trying to prove that they cause violence and murder. Sega City's Night Trap was banned. Mortal Kombat was, brought up in Congress. I mean, I think this movie has something to say. I mean, clearly it has something to say for the time period, because now who gives a shit? We have violent games all the time. I mean, what's on Walking Dead is on cable, and that was, think of, not that it's bad, but I'm saying think of where we came up, where when NYPD Blue said shit, it was such a big deal that South Park had to make fun of it, because oh, we're going to swear now. So yeah, at this time, violence in video games was like a big worry, like when you were growing up, heavy metal in the 80s, and Satanic Panic. So you had Satanic Panic, and I had the video game are going to make you murderers, and so this is saying like, oh, video games, it made a kid a murderer, but that's the beauty of the ending, because it's saying it was just a game. It's just a game. No, it did not. Yeah, I think there's a lot of little things that, are a little more than skin deep in a movie about a possessive CD-ROM,
Yeah, basically. The score was great.
Score and the soundtrack is fantastic.
I'm surprised you like the soundtrack. I'm talking.
Surprised you like the soundtrack.
Yeah, it was fucking White Zombie. I think Primus as well was in there. I didn't. Echo the Bunnyman was in there. So it was a rocking soundtrack.
Butthole Surfers, Dandelions, Mudhoney.
Butthole Surfers. Yeah, actually, it was not Echo and the Bunnymen. I'm sorry, it was Butthole Surfers, because they sounded like to me like white people.
No country western music, please. Every man has his limits.
George S. Clinton.
Oh yeah, because it sounds like, I think he did the music for Mortal Kombat as well, actually.
Did he?
Yes.
So it is a beautiful lick. It goes like. Dum 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 dum.
Yeah. The theme of the movie is is really good. I'll give you that.
I had it in my head like 2 days after I rewatched that shit. So no, kudos.
Yeah, very somber.
It's a weird fucking movie, like tone-wise, because
I love
it deals
it.
with a
Dark
lot.
and mean.
Yeah, it's dark and mean, but then you got the trickster, doing his shtick, eating like a pig. He's a bit like a fucking party animal, and you hate him, but you don't really hate him. You kind of like the guy, It's kind of like. Did you get some Elm Street vibes from it, like the first film? I kind of got a little bit of it.
I haven't seen the first in a while. I've been waiting for a 4K release. I mean,
there is a 4K release.
No, but I want like the box set. I want it like I have the Friday the 13th, like they came out with the Child's Play. I want the nice, beautiful, full of extras. I want like give me it so I could die. Give me it so I could hold on to it and die. Maybe. in all honesty though, I feel like Freddy was so influential on all these like these type of characters. Like the not to say wisecracking per se, because I know Freddy was not just that, but that persona of like here's like a villain, but he's gonna be sort of charming. He's gonna be charismatic. So I see it like that. I don't know necessarily if I see the tone. I think this was far more somber, but at the same time, I haven't seen the first one in about 6-7 years, so I should probably rewatch it. Yeah, I like to take breaks so like I could forget things and then rewatch it, so I have like a.
It holds up.
No, I'm not surprised. Yeah.
I could start talking about Elm Street OG 1984, but I won't. So, your dislikes of the movie. Go ahead.
It's a movie from '94. It's dealing with a very specific era technology. Some of the dialogue is a little corny. Some of the acting is very 90s, like specifically like this type of 90s. That's it, man. I really don't have much. Oh, I guess I've come to go back and forth in this a bit. I know at the end when Trickster and him merge, they originally made it like a cool body horror thing, Steve Johnson.
Yeah.
I guess the longer I sit on that, the more I probably wish we had it. I don't know if it would have worked or if it would have kind of just gone too pendulum swing to the other side, but I like that kind of stuff. So I think I would have dug it. So I'm a little disappointed the more I think that they didn't do it, but whatever. I don't have a lot of dislikes, man. Again, there's some corny stuff, but I think that's anything that's this old, you could pick it. Nothing that hurts the film. I think it's overall, dude, any negative I had is going to be like, well, I wish it was a little bloodier, but again, I wish. That doesn't mean it's bad. It just means that I'd prefer it. I'd prefer a cool body horror monster. Can I really knock the movie? No. I think Furlong's a decent actor. Is he the best? No, but played Michael for what it was. So, man, I don't have anything concrete personally.
Okay. Well, John Flynn actually said about Furlong, he hated the kid. He hated him. He said, and I paraphrase, I had to slap him around every day for him to wake the fuck up and act.
Yeah, I read that. He might have been on heroin right at this time. I don't know.
Oh, he was 15. That was after T2, so he was, riding high, so literally riding high. But I thought in terms of the end result, his performance is fine. It's typical Furlong, really. It's the same shit. Pet Sematary 2, it's pretty much the same performance.
Yeah, Furlong's it was a character actor. He played Furlong.
Yeah, exactly. With great fucking hair. So, God bless that hair. Coming from two bald dudes, God bless that hair.
I
I wish there was a difference look-wise between when he's in the game and he's in reality. So, especially the first kill, it would have been nice if maybe it's pixelated or lines. So there's a difference between him in the game and him in reality. But the way it's shot, they look the same. That bothered me a little bit. I think a distinction would have elevated the film in terms of aesthetics. I could not stand Jamie Galen. No offense, brother. I know you're just 27 years old, playing a teenager at the time, as Kyle is best friend. If that's your best friend, dude, shoot yourself right now. I wanted to take that man, bringing up a building, and throw him out a fucking window and watch him drop and then laugh.
Oh, come on.
Dude, he was so fucking annoying, dude. You know what he was? He was, and that's not the fault of the actor.
Hey, man, it's not that bad.
He was your stereotypical movie geek horror fan best friend. he did not feel authentic to me. He felt like a cliche, like a cartoon character. Hey guy, hey dude, yeah, with the fucking, hey, fuck off, man. You know, I was a fucking metal dude. I was a horror dude. I had best friends. They didn't look like that sad sack motherfucker. So I couldn't stand this fucking guy.
I mean, I won't fight you and say that he was stereotypical, but I feel like that was like an archetype of like that 90s sort of character. I feel like he's right out of Senior Trip, you know? I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say you're wrong. I'm not bothered by it because I feel like that was like the stock 90s character. That's what you got in like a lot of these movies. But if you got to kill the man, I guess fair enough, you know?
I throw him out a fucking window on a bad day and on a good day and twice on Sunday.
It's harsh. Anything I can do?
There's no way that I didn't buy that dude was Furlong's best friend. I didn't buy it. There was no chemistry. There was no connection. Everything was forced. Everything was like, oh, the dialogue's telling me they're best friends, or the exposition's telling me they're best friends. I didn't feel they're best friends, and I didn't feel that Kyle was even a real human being. He's just fucking, like I said, a paper cutout of what a 90s best friend is. Even though, and he's supposed to be like 15 years old. He's 27, the actor playing him, and it showed. So yeah, Kyle, I'm not a fan, so I'm sorry about that. But my biggest pet peeve with the film, all the daytime scenes are so bright. They come off like Dawson's Creek episode. The green is green. Everything's lush and bright, and it looks like a little bit fucking ambiance, man. A little shadows, man. A little fucking somberness. Especially as the movie progresses, it gets darker and darker and darker. And most of the film, well, a lot of film is set in the daytime. Of course, at night, the running around, the kills and stuff is at night, and that's fine. But in the daytime, I felt that it was overlit, basically. It looked TV movie-ish.
That's a good looking old fashioned film, man. I like how they lit that stuff.
It could have been more, what's the word?
You want a dramatic lighting, huh?
It's just more spice. A little bit more, je ne sais quoi. So give me something.
Je ne sais quoi. Fair enough, man. I mean, listen, I'm not saying it's this isn't Dean Cundy. I'm not going to sit here and fight you for it, but I ain't bothered by cinematography.
Well, this is none of your business then, is it? Go home, do your homework.
It's a shame because, Brainscan tanked like nobody's business when it came out.
Yeah, 2 weeks in theaters, right?
Yeah, that's it. 2 weeks in theaters. But the film, as you guys and dolls probably know if you're watching this video, gained a cult classic. A Scream Factory put out the Blu-ray, so it gained its audience over time. And consider me, and I know you feel the same way, as one of them at this point. I'm a big fan of the movie. I think I would have loved the sequel. I would have loved Trickster doing that shit to somebody else, man. I don't know if it would have worked because now we know the twist, that whatever happens, is not really happening. But maybe they could have changed the game, augment the stakes, or, it's fucking Brainscan 2.0, so now the rules have changed. It really, who the fuck knows? But, Trickster was great. I would have loved to have seen him in another movie.
I mean, I know it bombed, but those movies did well where they're just like, no sequel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's not like today where you have to keep pumping out. Like you could still make an original movie a year later and do fine. So there wasn't like on top of it. So it's funny because Trickster seems like a very thought out in terms of, the look and his powers. Like I felt it was all consistent. So it's something to me, it's like, oh, now you look at that, it's like, oh, they're prepping him for more. But back then they're like, nah, this is a one and done. It's made back its cult classic status. People like it. I mean, I don't know if Furlong would have made a bunch of money off it. I know this Pet Sematary 2 shelved his career, so I do feel bad. But in the end, man, I don't know. I'm more cynical.
No, man. Actually, that's bullshit. Those movies didn't shelve his career.
He had like 4 bombs in a row. Even American History X didn't save his career. It's like, didn't he have like 4 bombs in a row? And like then people stopped calling, I thought.
No, I don't think they stopped calling because of bombs, as you say. Furlong fucked himself with his drug addiction, and booze addiction, or whatever the fuck he was addicted to. That's how he fucked himself.
Let's party.
As opposed to Lance, I would love to see a legacy sequel to this.
Of course you would.
I would.
Oh my god.
And if you feel, dude, because everything coming out is shit. I don't give a fuck about
You think this would be? You think they would do this good?
Of course they would. I mean, I'm sounding like Seinfeld.
But I don't want to be a pirate.
Dude, technology has advanced so much. Imagine how far we can go with a legacy sequel or quasi reboot or whatever the fuck.
Oh man!
And get the same dude, although he's probably in an old folks home now, but TJ Ryder, get him to play Trickster again. He fucking owned that shit, man. Just put the makeup on. Nobody knows nothing. Nobody sees nothing.
Old folks home. He's probably like 50. Come on, man.
Let us know in the comments below what you think of the movie, if you're a fan, if you see a legacy sequel. And of course, Lance and I are always open suggestions as to what you want us to cover for the next round. So, stab that shit below.
Thank you for clicking on our video, everybody. If you like what you saw here, please make sure you like the video and subscribe and share with your friends who like this sort of content. JoBlo was created by movie fans for movie fans, and we appreciate your support.